Hey guys, Kelade here, back with another commentary video, this time doing a raid boss as some of you guys have suggested, and this is doing Heroic Gul'dan, which is probably more useful for you guys than even Mythic, which we're not even on. So for this fight, I do go ahead and charge in and pop all my cooldowns, including the extra action button, because that liquid hellfire does not hit the ground and remove your buff until 7 seconds, which is incidentally the perfect amount of time because our battle cry lasts for 7 seconds, right? So you can go ahead and pop everything in the beginning. All of your cooldowns will be buffed by that extra damage from the extra action button, so you're good to go there. As far for this, I do hit Gul'dan for a little bit here, try to avoid all the pillars that are rising that you see there, and also the kind of the beam of fell that Gul'dan does. And our priority target for this is the Inquisitor. I do try to kill him first. And always I try to look at Gul'dan wherever I can, like right now, so I can see when that beam is coming. Try to always be able to avoid that because if you get caught in it for too long, it's almost an instant death. Luckily for warriors, it's not as bad because we do have a higher HP. And then after that, we do kill each ad. And I try to pop my cooldowns as much as I can on these ads because after the ads dies right here in this transition phase, between this phase and the next eyes, there will actually be a lot of time for your cooldowns to come off cooldown. I think when he comes out of this phase and he begins next phase, there's around 30 seconds before the eyes spawn. So sometimes right here, I'll actually pop Battlecry right away. Like right here, what I did here, I'll pop Battlecry because I know the ads are going to spawn in 30 seconds. So as long as I'm able to get some good convergence procs, I'll have Battlecry up for when the ads are up. So obviously this is only doable if you have convergence. If you don't have convergence, then you're going to save every Battlecry and every Odin's Fury for when the eyes spawn. But there are situations where with convergence, if you get nice procs, you're able to actually use 2 battle cries before the next eye spawn. So right here with eye spawn perfectly, battle cry comes off cooldown, and then I AoE everything with my Odin's Fury, along with making sure that everything is buffed by the extra action button. Pretty much it. Also make sure when that larger ad comes out that you are focusing it and making sure that you're kicking it, of course. Though I'm not sure if most raid groups care about doing like kick rotation. We don't because we have so many people that can kick. So we're just kind of know that people are gonna get the interrupts, so we're good to go on there. So now I was able to use Battlecry again. That was kind of a risky use. I generally kind of look at it as if there's 25 seconds left before the eye spawn and the Battlecry is able to be used, I would use Battlecry. But if it's anything less than 25 seconds, I generally try to not to use Battlecry and I would just save it for the eyes. So you do see I kind of cut it close. The eyes spawned, but I still have 4 seconds left on my Battlecry. Luckily, I got a proc there from Convergence. What I do for AoE on the eyes and burst windows is if I have Odin's Fury and I have Draft Up, I would pop on my cooldowns, use Rampage like normal, but I would insert Odin's Fury and then I would use Draft of Souls. That lets you get much more AoE burst out, right? Because you're getting the Odin's Fury out faster, and then it lets you also get draft damage out and make sure that's buffed by as many buffs as possible. And because of our raid and kind of how geared we are, obviously, those eyes kind of get evaporated. So right now we're just kind of continuing along this phase. You don't have to get the bonds, especially in a hero raid group when there's this many people. Of course, when your group is smaller size, you might be required to heroically back out and actually have to figure out some ways to help your range soak those bonds, right? So right here for the empowered eyes, don't think I necessarily had a cooldown there, and I don't think I did. It's not a big deal if you're empowered. If the empowered eyes you don't have cooldowns, though of course you do want to have it up as possible. By cooldowns, I mean if you have Battlecry up for empowered eyes, that's perfectly fine. That's all you really need. But you don't need Odin's Fury for empowered eyes. Your burst is going to be just as good without it. So as always, this guy phases as at 40%. So I know that I have a ways to go before we get there. So I just pop all my cooldowns so we can burn him. You do want to pop your cooldowns before the next phase because there is a transition phase where you're going to be doing 0 damage, and it would be great to start having your cooldowns, start ticking and going on cooldown and having that timer go past. The only problem with this is how our guild does to run in that we lust right here when he comes out. When he finishes casting this Wall of Souls is when we lust. Um, so of course, if you pop everything, you're not gonna get everything with lust. But that's not a huge deal. Also, you see Flame of Sargeras. I wait for it to pick a target before I pop my cooldowns because the worst thing that can happen to you is you come into this phase, pop your cooldowns, and bam, you got targeted by Flame of Sargeras where you have to run out of melee. So I do wait for that. If your group is lacking on empowered eye damage, you could also save your cooldowns for when that eye spawns. But since our group is lusted, it's not a big deal. See that eye kind of got spawned off in the corner. Most of the melee couldn't even reach the eye. Just with range alone, we were able to kill it before it duplicates, and that's because we all had lust, right? So this part, obviously, like I mentioned, Flame Soldiers, you want to really not walk that over the rest of the raid. I don't think I get targeted on this run, but if you do get targeted, you can walk in a little square shape, kind of trying to make your circles as your flame drops as tight as possible. And I'm not gonna do it on. I don't know if I do it on this Storm Destroyer. Let's see if I stay in. Okay, so I do stay in. So on Heroic and Normal, you're able to just straight up soak the Storm Destroyer. Especially if you have Enrage Regeneration, you can just take everything and heal it all back up. That way you can keep your execute stacks while you're doing the fight. And here you guys can actually see an example of the execute rotation with Draft of Souls, which involves popping your cooldown, Bloodthirst, and then execute, and then popping Draft of Souls, and then going back into execute. This will allow you to use Draft of Souls in your execute while keeping your execute stacks up. So we're getting pretty close to the end of the run. I'm not sure if I remember. I think I might drop stacks here. I think I get targeted by this next Flame of Sargeras. See if that actually happens. Yeah, so I get targeted by this Flame Sargeras, which kind of feels. So I try to execute him and run out. Try to. They're kind of some bad plays on the Flames, but I try to keep my Juggernaut stacks, and I do manage to keep it up. But he was dead anyway, so it wouldn't have really mattered. And unfortunately, there were no better Draft of Souls waiting for me in the chest this week. Other people just kind of bonus rolled in 895 versions. But yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the video. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe to see more content. And thanks for watching. See ya.